I'm Will Hedrick.
And I'm Jordan Schaffer.
And this is Dog Ears and Timestamps, a Good Omens podcast. It's over.
It's over, dude.
It's done.
What'd you think overall?
Overall, it was a good show. I enjoyed it. It was funny. I would maybe watch it again in a few years. I don't know.
Yeah. I liked it. I thought I would rewatch it as like I was talking about last week, but I didn't end up. I don't know. I guess I just didn't end up caring as much. I don't know. I didn't need to. It was good. We talk about it every week. It's not like I feel like I get a good enough wrap on the episode. It was pretty much. I feel like we kind of called what was going to happen. I mean, there wasn't much left to unfold.
Yeah,
but
just nothing happens. Yeah.
We met Satan, which was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Well, we knew he had to show up at some point. Then we're going to, cast
Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Didn't sound like him at
and
all
then
either.
never have him show up.
They should have just done anybody because it didn't sound like him. You couldn't tell.
Well, he said maybe a total of 25 words.
Right.
So, it's kind of...
They could have done anybody.
But they seemingly just decided to go as far out as they could with all the English actors as they could find. Because also, they also have Ryan Cox is deaf, and he's not English, he's Scottish, but there's no... Death says maybe 30 words.
Is that who Death was? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He doesn't talk much either, and it's kind of just like a sort of Darth Vader-y kind of like...
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like him, but kind of that same vibe.
Right.
You don't know anything about
So I think they were just, trying to get as much star power as they could, or maybe the actors were just, ultra willing to, even if it's a small part, be in this production,
Yeah, it seemed kind of like it would just be just good to have on your resume. Like, I was a part of this, It, I don't know, it just seemed like it was a good cast, a good group of people. I don't know who the director was. Do you remember who it was?
No.
Oh, okay. I wonder if he was anybody.
I don't know. It's not anybody. Not that I know every director that there is, anyways.
Yeah, I was just thinking
probably
with
only a
everybody
small handful of directors that I would say that I'm familiar with to any degree, and I'm saying maybe like 5.
Yeah.
If it's anything like other shows of this nature, and like most TV shows, it wasn't just a single director. There was
that's true.
Probably maybe 3 directors, and they each had, 2 episodes or something like that.
Is there usually just like one overhead, like one person kind of overseeing everything, and then...
That's called a producer.
Producer, gotcha, okay. Never really understood the roles. And
even the producers don't always actually have anything to do with it, depending on the producer.
Yeah, sometimes I thought producers were just kind of like a money backing... or like a name to go behind,
Definitely that's probably their biggest, role in that position. Looks like it was Douglas McKinnon the entire time. It was someone I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It was some BBC director. Yep, Sherlock, Doctor Who.
Yeah, I was going to say, he seems that he probably has to pull a lot of weight to get the guys that he got, like to get the cast that he has.
Well, it's a BBC production. Even though it's, Amazon Prime is hosting it and largely paid for it, it's still a BBC production. It shows it in the opening and the ending that it's a BBC production. So there's just all those actors are always in, different things for BBC. It's not. And
BBC's like a network?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
British Broadcasting Corporation. They've got, they're... Like
do
all
they
the
have
public
any other
networks
over there? That's the only one I know from.
Yeah, they've got different ones. There's their ESPN equivalent is Sky.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure that there are other ones out there, but it is like BBC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and those are different things. Like those would be the equivalents of like CW, Discovery, BBC 5 is like C-SPAN or something like that. Like they each have a different purpose.
Okay.
One's like science, one's just general entertainment, one is, kind of like trashier entertainment, like MTV sort of stuff,
One's probably more like
same with the radio as well. The thing is, if I'm not mistaken, the majority of broadcasting technology is government run, as opposed to like America, where it's mostly private organizations.
Well, that's probably why America's booming, right? Like, don't we have the most prolific production, like, in acting and movies and shows and stuff?
I don't know about prolific, but we definitely have, as a whole, the highest grossing overall, entertainment production.
I'm trying to think if it's with more.
I think Bollywood is more prolific.
Okay. Yeah, like they get more recognition, you think? More people.
But prolific just means that you're putting out a bunch of things.
Oh, okay.
So I think that on the whole, Indian movie and film production has probably got way more that's happening.
Oh, okay.
And it may make more money just because of the population that is behind it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of anything right now that's coming out in like US like TV and stuff that like is really just like amazing. And there's only just, I mean, there's like the regular recurring shows like the CSI shows and stuff, but like I can't think of anything that like I've gone out of my way to watch, that's come out recently on TV. Like I feel like everything now is just sort of going to the east, the I don't know, the internet media, like the
it's definitely in a transitionary period right now. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't think that it is going to ever completely change until just technology period makes it so that it has to change, which would be something that I can't even imagine what that would mean necessarily. But there's a shift in the way that people are consuming media, and that's largely through the internet. And that's largely because there are people who don't care to spend the money on things like large TVs and home entertainment systems and all that sort of stuff. A lot of people just watch stuff on their computer or their phone or their iPad. And so those subscription services make more sense because a lot of people just don't sit down and just watch TV all night in the same way anymore. No. They're usually at their desk or they're in their bed or something like that. It's a growing trend. I don't know that it's taken over yet, but it's growing enough that it's making a mark in the way that people consume things.
Yeah.
Certainly with binge culture. And these are things that we talked about when we were talking about Game of Thrones, but I think the main thing is that the overhead for putting something out on the internet is a lot less than putting it on television. So production companies are going to want to try and take advantage of that where possible because it's the opportunity for profit is at a wider margin on the internet than it is elsewhere on TV or movie theaters. Those are things that an increasing number of people are not partaking in these days.
Yeah. Honestly, man, the more I think about it, I'm thinking like cartoons are probably like the most, like the biggest thing that I feel like is coming out on TV, like with like South Park and Family Guy and those kinds of shows. And then with like all the anime that comes out weekly, like on different, I'm sure, channels out there. I just feel like there's more cartoons that hold weight or carry weight with like quality than actual like shows. I haven't been watching TV though, so who am I to like judge any TV? But I haven't really heard of like that many like great shows coming out recently. I've just heard of a lot of shows ending and shows that have been going on forever. Like Big Bang Theory was like a 12-season show, which is amazing.
Seasons.
I mean, but that's amazing to have something that held on for that long,
Yeah.
But that's like the only thing I can think of like that. And then I think Breaking Bad was like a big one that like exploded. Mm-hmm. But like other than that, like I don't think Game of Thrones counts because that was like I don't know who.
Well, it's not on cable
it's like
or it's a premium, service, and the majority of people have HBO these days. And HBO makes it easy so that if you don't even have TV, you can just have an HBO subscription for a set number of months, or so that you can watch Game of Thrones, or you can just take it for 1 month at the end of it and binge watch it or whatever. But Game of Thrones had more viewership than the vast majority of television this season. Probably more than a lot of things combined. The biggest draw television-wise right now, I think, is News and sports is what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But as far as TV shows go in America, I think it takes an even spread across just like, because there's a shit ton of stuff out there. Stuff that you've never even heard of.
Oh, no, I know. And they've been going on for like 8 seasons too. Like Two Broke Girls or something. Like, didn't that go on for like 6 seasons? And like,
that went on for a long time. I keep forgetting that it existed.
Yeah, me too. Like, I never saw an episode. But like I said, I don't watch TV. Like, I just kind of, I take in basically on demand media, you know, and then I watch a lot of YouTube, surprisingly.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that considered like amateur content?
I guess for what is mostly on YouTube, yes.
That's funny that like that's funny that like there's such a market for just that amateur content that people just want somebody just to give them this like YouTube video of whatever it is, like their research on something. Or
well, that's not what's most watched. What is just most exists on YouTube. There's something like there's an obscene number of content that is uploaded to YouTube every minute. It's something like every minute there's like 10 hours of content that gets uploaded to YouTube. And the majority of that is garbage. It's nothing.
Sure.
What gets the most views is professional grade stuff, though. Different properties like
especially with
Rooster Teeth and Good Mythical Morning and
that's definitely on
a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, that's all high level production stuff, and that is what gets the most views. Every now and then you might get like a crazy viral video of someone doing a backflip off of a fucking goalpost or something, but that's those are exceptions as opposed to consistent views.
It's funny though, because like the slow-mo guys, I would say that they're probably not, they probably made the transition onto like a more professional level, but I felt like the appeal to their video was always that it kind of felt like two guys hanging out playing with a camera, like it had that
there's a lo-fi nature
feel
to them. For sure. And it's because it's all done just by the two of them until every now and then they'll get like a sponsored video from like Discovery or something like that. And so then production gets taken over by whoever the sponsor is, and it's, higher quality. Like they just recently went through a series for YouTube Red where they went to all these different locations around the world to do different things. And that was obviously a higher production value. But usually, the setting that they're in is a little bit more lo-fi, even though that they're working with, multi-$1,000 cameras. And Gavin has shot slow motion on the majority of movies that feature slow motion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Or at least up until a point.
Cool.
I don't think
really cool.
he doesn't do it anymore now that he works full-time for Rooster Teeth. But to get to America, he started doing film production, and he started doing slow motion shots, and he has worked on up until that point that he stopped doing it. Pretty much anything that had slow motion in it, he shot it.
That's cool.
So he's a consummate professional. And he does something that very few people can do. Man,
I enjoyed the last episode. I didn't think it was like super like loud. Like I didn't think anything crazy happened. I just sort of thought it was straightforward, but I enjoyed it. Like I didn't want anything else to happen than what happened,
Yeah, it was, just tying up the ends.
Yeah.
The final joke being that nothing happened, and
I kind of like that Satan exploded. Tie it all up. When like Adam disowned him, he just kind of like blew up or disintegrated or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He just retreated, I suppose.
Oh, you don't think he died?
No.
You don't think he got, when his son disowned him, he was too embarrassed to exist anymore?
Right.
I thought it was something like he kind of made him like disappear because he was like, you're not my dad. I don't even like believe in you. So like he kind of willed him out of existence, But that's probably not what happened. It just...
Yeah.
I mean, he willed him out of the danger zone.
He could control reality in that moment was what Crowley was telling him, but heaven and hell are outside of reality. So, I mean, what I assume happened to Satan was that, there was no reason for him to be there because he was no longer Adam's father.
Yeah.
So he disappears. It'd be like going back in time and changing the moment that led to those things happening. And so then he wouldn't be there to begin with in that moment because there's no reason. Is how I interpreted it. But obviously it's, it's not a very strict canon that's happening here, because even though Adam is suddenly no longer the son of Satan and therefore shouldn't have any powers, he can still make that bush disappear at the last scene. So like, he still has like some powers, which is kind of stupid because the whole thing was that he changed reality so that he wasn't the son of Satan, which is what made him have powers. There's things about it that of course don't make any sense, but it's not trying to be like, you know, strictly adherent to any line of rules. It's a comedy. But it's just kind of funny when that sort of stuff happens, because whenever you make declarative things like, oh, he can change reality and he did this thing and that's how the problem gets solved. Yeah. You're still kind of like, okay, well, then that has other repercussions.
Yeah, like he doesn't have his powers
that are less convenient for these characters.
Yeah, well, and like one of the repercussions of a dog being realized as like a cuter, smaller dog that he wanted, not like the freaking hellhound that he started off with. Like one of the repercussions of that was that he was more innocent too, and then it wasn't like a hellhound devil beast, you know, and
yeah, but that was like just the played out joke.
No, but that was good too. It was just I don't know. I feel like that was kind of like a repercussion too of him just being like who he was and like no.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just trying to figure out how that was related to
just because we were saying that there were repercussions for like him like making a new like reality where he wasn't the son of Satan, so he didn't have the powers. Yeah, I was saying that like him realizing that he wanted a different size dog was kind of the same, you know, in the same.
Yeah, but the repercussions that were recognized and.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, that's what I saw. That's kind of what I meant. I was just sort of relating the two. No,
it's just like a cause effect thing. Yeah, I
know.
But in any case, it was kind of stupid how they resolved the Horsemen.
I mean, I knew that it was going to be a 4-on-4. That was kind of just played out, but it was so quick. I thought it would be an actual like duel of some kind, like a duel of wits or a duel of, you know, not just like the kids each trading off swords and being like, you kill this one, now you do your turn, now you take your Horcrux, you know, and like, you know, kind of just like.
Yeah, I don't know that there needed to be a face-off at all. I don't know exactly what else would have necessarily had to have been done. I don't see why there had to be a face-off. I don't think it added anything. It was overly cheesy. It was.
I mean, yeah, we
obnoxious,
saw it coming a mile away too.
In my opinion, I thought it was just outright obnoxious. I guess that it could have just been resolved by the sheer fact, because then Adam goes on and changes reality so that the apocalypse doesn't happen.
Right.
So it's like it would be like if you had like a big spill, right? And you started by drying up a little bit in the middle, but then you're like, oh no, I'll just get a mop and do the whole thing at once.
I'll just change reality so that I didn't spill it.
Yeah, it's like you're going to end up doing the thing that cleans the board completely, but you wasted time having people do something in the middle of it.
No, I see what you mean. I guess he didn't know he was gonna just wipe the board completely, so you're kind of just trying to tie up each loose end as you go. But I know what you're saying. You didn't need to do it, and it felt kind of overly done. Because if he was just gonna correct everything, then he could have just corrected the 4 horsemen, and we didn't even really need the witch either. Like the witch and the witch hunter, we didn't really need them if he was just gonna correct everything.
I guess the sequence of events there is that he, you know, so the horsemen get gotten rid of, and that's what's supposed to be the hailing of the apocalypse initially. So then the apocalypse can't happen, so then that's when Gabriel and Beelzebub show up, and they're like, you gotta fix this, the war is supposed to happen, and then they leave and tell Satan, and then that's when Satan's about to show up, and Crowley's like, well, we need to convince Adam to figure something out. And so, from a sequence of events standpoint, it makes more sense. But from what I imagine the writing standpoint is, it seems like, you know, that was the plan, was that they were going to get to this point where Adam had to change reality. So then how do we construct a path to that point? Yeah. And I felt like that fell a little short for an engaging path, because I was totally disengaged at that point. I was like, this is stupid. Like, I don't care about these kids facing off with the horsemen. It makes no sense at all.
No, it was just kind of like a plot device to get us on to the next moment where we didn't have the horsemen. But you're right. It didn't seem to really fit. I got nervous like when John Hamm like was coming down, like when angels get serious and like you know what I mean, like that scares me more than anything. I don't know why. It's just like you've awoken the beast. You know, you don't want to mess with like the quiet kid, because then when he comes out, he's like he goes Columbine or whatever. Like it's just oh man, it was so like when he like I knew he kind of had like a little bit of a trigger switch, like where he kind of went a little loose cannon. But I felt like we really saw it this episode, and like John Hamm did a great job acting, but yeah, that was just crazy. It was fun seeing that in his character. I always forget what his name is too.
He's Gabriel.
Gabriel,
the Archangel Gabriel.
The Archangel Gabriel. What does Archangel mean?
That he's like in an upper echelon of angelhood, presumably the top.
Could you be like an archhuman? Be in the top
I suppose you could if you represented all of humanity to another existence to some degree.
That would be so weird to classify yourself as that.
Right.
I'm archhuman. I'm above other human. They definitely get more voting power. I'd give more voting power to archhumans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd want my kid to marry an archhuman. I don't think I could. I don't think I could be with an archhuman.
Yeah.
Too much pressure.
I feel like it probably would be. I think you're right.
Probably like Ben Franklin was probably an archhuman.
I think it could be. I think if it came to it, I could vote for Ben Franklin to become an archhuman. If that's the sort of thing that goes to a vote, I don't know.
Man, but he got, I think he got a bunch of STDs.
I think a lot of people probably did back then and just didn't know.
No, that's true. Man, this show, okay. So, did it, I mean, we knew how everything was going to wrap up with like the girl and the guy, they were going to get together, and then Crowley and Aziraphale were going to
be okay.
It was going to work out.
Yeah, it was all going to be fine.
He got his car back and he got his bookshop back, but then didn't they just kind of end up just hanging out and traveling, like it felt like?
Yeah, I think they just continue on doing the normal thing, except that now they don't have a strict affiliation with their parties anymore. Yeah. So I think that they're just there for the sole purpose of existing and doing what they want to do.
Yeah, they figured it out. They got it. I was waiting for the reveal on like how we were gonna like how Crowley stood the holy water and how Aziraphale took the fucking inferno, you know? And then because I just thought that maybe like God was looking out for them, you know, and was like he just kind of, or she just kind of protected them in that instance. But that it turned out that they just they tricked it, like they just swapped bodies. Yeah, that was cool.
It was pretty smart. It was funny in the moment whenever then for people who didn't figure out until the moment that they swapped bodies, I didn't know. In that moment they then lose the pretense of being in the other character. And so then you see the actors acting like the other actor was acting as their character. Like Martin Sheen is then just like lounging in the chair and being like, he's got like a fucking totally like nonchalant, don't give a shit face on. Yeah. Which is totally different from how he looked the rest of the show. Oh, yeah. It was just a funny, swap in characters for the actors.
I didn't even notice, because it should have made sense too, because when he like snarled at him and he like breathed fire at him, that's never something Aziraphale would have done, but that is so...
it was definitely a little out of character.
It was so Crowley. And that, like, I should have known probably at that point, or figured it out, like I should have been in on it, but I didn't. I was so late in the game. And
I didn't really know what was going to happen to them, because, so they get like the last prophecy that they're concerned with from Agnes in the bit that flutters down as he throws it. That's, and it says, choose your faces wisely. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't know what that means, whatever. and then it goes on and on for, we get wrap up for other characters and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then they get captured by their respective parties. And I was like, oh, I guess they're going to have to go deal with whatever's going to happen. And I imagine God is just going to do something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Although God has done nothing the rest of this show.
Right? Why did I think that she'd step in now?
And then when I saw that they were going to try to annihilate the both of them's the entire existence, I was like, oh, okay, they changed bodies.
Nice. What was that like flaming waterfall? You know what I mean? Like,
they didn't explain that at all. Like we've had like a pretense for what holy water is and does to demons.
Yeah.
It's been given to us. So whenever Michael brings out the holy water and pours it for about 10 minutes out of that one
cool.
thing.
I like that. I was about to bring that up.
They cut back to it and she was just still standing there pouring. I was like, that bitch is still pouring. What the fuck?
Yeah, she's got a magic pitcher.
But then they're like, okay, they bring out one of those demon things that Hasta was talking to in Megiddo 2 episodes ago and was killing them as they annoyed him.
Oh yeah, the little round ugly dragon thing.
No,
what are you talking about?
The black dude who was whenever Hasta shows up in Megiddo, they still don't know that the Antichrist is the wrong person, so they think he's showing up. And they're like setting up the plans. They're like, okay, at this time this is going to happen, and then the forces of hell show up or whatever. And it was just like the same person over and over again. Okay. And he kept killing them because they were annoying him with dumb jokes and stuff like that. It's one of those things that shows up.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, we've got this new associate, and he just set up some hellfire thing, but they never said what it was. Yeah. They're just like, yeah, this is a dude that's going to help us out. Mm-hmm. And then he sets something up and disappears, and then we cut away, and then we cut back, and they just ignite a fire NATO. And there's no explanation as to what it is. It's just some sort of demon fire thing.
I guess we saw it earlier when Crowley made like the town, the ring around the town, I guess that was kind of similar, to that was the only other time we've seen demon fire, I guess. So
yeah, but even that was just I think that was just fire.
I thought it was just regular fire. So can we kill angels with fire?
It discorporates Hasta in Crowley's vehicle. So it's not. It just killed his corporeal form, not him, because he's then back later. Like we see him in hell. So it's not any sort of like additionally dangerous fire.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just fire on the M25 or whatever it was. But this appears to be some sort of demon fire thing. Yeah. Because there's like a ritual or something. They have to have a demon come in and do some sort of thing. Yeah. As opposed to the thing that sets up the M25 is just humanity's just been going in a demon circle for 50 years, building up this minute level of evil, and now that the end times are here, it's time for it to happen. Yeah, I don't think they were the same thing.
Dude, there was a ton of collusion with the bad guys. Dude, how bad was Heaven? Dude, I hated Heaven. I didn't like anything about Heaven in this show. Yeah. It's like the sound of music all the time, and just like everybody's backstabbing each other, and nobody seemed happy. That everybody wants to fight all the time. Everybody wants war. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't. Yeah, and that's the thing that sort of gets revealed at the end. There is that the whole point was never about humanity. The forces of heaven or hell never gave a shit about humanity. It was all about getting to the point of fighting again. Yeah. Because hell had lost the first time, and they were like, "We're gonna get you next time." And heaven was like, "We didn't extinguish you last time, but we're gonna this time." And so that's all that they cared about. They're effectively just a bunch of soldiers, obviously. Yeah. I don't think that the angels, even like in a classical biblical sense, are ever really described as anything but. Really? A couple of them are messengers. God sends, Gabriel to bring Mary the news about Jesus and stuff like that, and a few messages going along the way. But in every other, aside from just being a messenger here and there, all they seemingly are around for the final combat. So I think that it's their whole purpose, and so of course that's all they care about.
If you die and go to heaven, are you an angel?
No.
Oh, okay.
Humanity's spirit that makes it to heaven is at a higher rank than angels. Whoa. Angels are effectively God's grunts, for lack of a more eloquent term.
God's grunts.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be a good show. On BBC, God's grunts.
It does have a good ring to it.
Oh, when they were talking about like, is that the divine plan, or do you remember when they're like he was quizzing them on?
Oh, the difference between the great plan and the ineffable plan.
There we go. That was what I thought. That was funny. Just like the small little like difference. But is that the ineffable plan?
Right.
I don't know. It's ineffable.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. And I thought something like that would end up being the bigger loophole, right? The thing that is more that was a little bit more pivotal to how they resolve everything, but it ended up just like being a way to get Gabriel and Beelzebub to shut up and leave.
Yeah.
It didn't solve anything.
No, it was just silly, yeah. It was more, I feel like it was more for us than anything.
Right.
Like, it was just kind of like, okay, well, now they have no room to talk, they got logicked out of it, you know?
Right.
So, what would you rate this show? You can just give it a thumb up if you want.
No, I'll give it a more specific rating. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Somewhere around an 8.
Nice.
Somewhere between 7.83 and 8.35. Okay. Somewhere in there.
I think if I had watched it all back to back, I probably would have given it like a straight like 9. You know, or like a 10 out of 10, you know? Because it would have just been more satisfying. We wouldn't have been thinking about it so much probably, and it would have just been like, oh, yeah, awesome, you know? And it would have just been more gratifying. I don't know if it would have been more gratifying or if it would have been just a bigger, like, here's all the, like, info, and it's just like it would have been satisfying in the moment. But I don't know if it'd be more gratifying doing it how we did it, you know? Slowly getting it and making ourselves... like appreciate it, or if it would be better and just kind of like a big binge watch situation.
It might be better to watch it at least in larger chunks.
Yeah, I don't
know that there's very few things and very few times that I would want to sit down for 6 straight hours to watch something.
Right. I know after
other people certainly would. But.
After most of these episodes, I definitely wanted to watch the episode after. You know, I wanted to keep watching. So I think that had we been able to, maybe with the last 2 episodes, like it wouldn't have been so much of a like, it wouldn't have felt so quick, you know, having the kids just each kind of like end the 4 horsemen, and then, you know, and then Satan comes, and then, you know, he denounces him as his dad, so he doesn't exist anymore, and then that guy fixes the computer by breaking it.
Right.
That was We'll try and fix it. Oh, I know how to fix it. You just...
All you have to do is defrag it. And it's so stupid. That was like one of the dumbest jokes of the entire show.
Why did he think he knew how to fix it? He's just like, well, I know how to fix it. I just don't know how to turn it off. So, that was dumb.
Yeah. I do think that the last 2 episodes would be a better package rather than individual episodes.
I think so too, yeah.
Just from a viewing standpoint. But overall, yeah, it was a really good show. I enjoyed it a lot. There's no great narrative that's happening. It's just a comedy. No, it's a comedy about the end of the world.
I would recommend it to everybody. I have been recommending it to people too when they want to watch a show.
It's a lot of fun. And I have a hard time believing that majority of people wouldn't enjoy it.
I almost felt like it wasn't over either. Like at the end, it felt like they kind of made it... They almost left it open. I don't know if they left it open-ended or if they left like more room for like another story, or I don't know. It just didn't feel like it was all over.
Well, it was definitely I guess the thing is that, you know, like we've said, there wasn't like any super strong narrative happening. The point of it was just to be a comedy set across like these 5 days or whatever it is, and to then have more things go on, you know, as a sequel or a third book or whatever would suggest that an attempt at a narrative is being made.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know that it would be, if that then happened and you had, you know, a sequel that was attempting to then move on into like another narrative thing happening, and then now there's this greater narrative, I think that it would I don't think that it would be congruent at all. I think that would be almost 2 entirely different books, and that would be really strange.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of that would be mildly entertaining would just be to see what Aziraphale and Crowley are doing. But that would only be like a single episode. Like it'd be just kind of like a flash, like a reunion episode, like not even a whole season. But it did. Maybe it just kind of felt like it wasn't ended because, you know, like that was the point. Like the world didn't end, so like it just kind of continued on, and everything kept going on as you would, you know.
Right.
So that's probably why it just felt like that, you know, like something like there could be more to the story, but because there will be more, obviously, because we just haven't experienced it.
Continues,
yeah. Exactly. So that's probably just the feeling that I was getting, rather than there will be a sequel, because I don't think that will be the case.
No, yeah, I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
Certainly not since half the authorship died. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. He probably has like a disciple, right? I feel like there's always some person that like they can get to ghostwrite for an author when they pass or something. I don't know what happened with the guy that wrote Dune, Frank
Sinatra.
No, I think it's like Frank Herbert or Frank. I can't even remember. But when he died, like his son started like just writing sequels to his books, and then didn't Tolkien's son do something like that with?
Yeah, but all Tolkien's son really did was just
kind of
just grab all of the notes in his father's messy library and put them in sequential order.
Oh, yeah, make sense of them.
Yeah, I think there's no new narratives that have come, or there's no original narratives that have come out of Christopher Tolkien.
I gotcha.
As far as the Lord of the Rings universe goes. Maybe he's written something on his own, I don't know.
Yeah.
But as far as Lord of the Rings universe is concerned, from the Tolkien family, nothing has been original since Tolkien, or J.R.R. Tolkien.
What is J?
John?
Probably, right? Like Joseph R.R. Tolkien.
I should know this. J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings trivia night.
John Ronald Rule Tolkien.
It's a good name. Ronald Rule.
It's a pretty British name.
George Ronald Rule Martin.
George Railroad Martin. That's why he always wears that hat.
That would make sense. I like George Railroad Martin and John Railroad Tolkien. I forgot what this was. Yeah, man. So what are we gonna watch next?
The plan, as it stands, is to watch Chernobyl, the HBO miniseries.
Got it.
We're not going to serialize it. We're going to watch it all and then have one episode about it.
Binge.
Just because it's a more of a documentary miniseries rather than like a multi-point story.
Yeah, it's something that we could kind of build and elaborate on. I feel like it'll be more fun to just kind of get it all done in one big go and talk about our favorite parts of the documentary. So that way,
I think that makes more sense. And we're also not going to do it next week.
Yeah,
we don't know exactly when we're going to do it yet. We're going to probably just watch it as we can, and then whenever we're ready to record it, and then let y'all know a week ahead in advance.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
it.
Yeah, I'm looking.
So everybody just watch it at your pace, and then at some point you'll get a deadline from us.
You'll get a deadline.
And if you haven't finished it already at that point, then just knock out the last couple episodes. Whatever. It's only 5 episodes, so 5 hours worth of watching. People who are a little bit more dedicated to watching things than I am will knock it out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and. I mean, the next time I have a show that I'm like waiting around, like, oh, what should I watch? Like, I think I'm gonna put it on. I've thought about it several times. I just haven't done it because I didn't know how we were gonna do the episodes either. Because like, if we were just gonna have done it, if I had known that we were gonna do it like this, I could have watched it really at any time.
Yeah, I think that having a couple of weeks off from 2 episodes will be worthwhile as well.
Oh, for sure. We're coming up on a year too. A year of podcasting.
We're just about there.
And we're gonna upgrade the system, so guys keep listening in for that.
Yeah. That should be happening hopefully next week. I don't really know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, something.
We'll get it figured out as we grow. But you guys know how to find us at ears_stamps on Instagram and Twitter, and dog ears and timestamps at gmail.com. And let us know what you thought of the show, what you want to watch, what you're thinking. Just email us. And do the 5-star review on the all the different podcast platforms.
Only 5 stars or GTFO.
Yeah, just send us a private message if you don't like us and tell us why. But leave us a 5-star review.
Yes.
And then, just leave us a 5-star review and then tell us why in the 5-star. Why you don't like us.
But it's got to be 5 stars anyways.
Yeah, definitely 5-star, but then tell us why you don't like it.
Yeah. Only 5-star reviews. I turned off 1 through 4 stars.
Oh, good.
They don't exist.
Good.
I had to write a special email to Steve Wozniak, is he still at Apple? To ask him to do that. He was at Apple at the time, I'm going to say.
Yeah, he was there when he approved it.
And he said, yes, turn off 1 through 4 stars.
For this podcast only.
Yeah. So, we'll see y'all in a couple of days with the conclusion to the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle.
Dude.
And then we'll see y'all the next week with whatever the new book's going to be.
Ooh, yeah. I think I know.
We actually need to decide that before we start recording final episode for Evelyn Hardcastle. So, we'll do that. And we'll let y'all know.
Yeah, y'all are in store for a good book next week.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah, dude. All the ones you picked, man.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're good.
There's only one that I'm 100% confident about. The other two I'm relatively confident about.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
If in 3 weeks I hate everything, y'all will know.
Well, no.
I'm Will Hedrick.
I'm Jordan Schaffer.
This is Dog Ears and Timestamps.